idea, if you have an app idea, how do you go about getting it to some stage that you can attract potential investors, potential co-founders, maybe even potential customers or early users without that much coding experience or design experience. And before I want to start, I want to kind of learn a little bit about you guys to see what you guys are up to and craft the presentation as we go along and use examples that make sense for most of you. So how many of you have a business or a startup and you're here to kind of get some ideas and apply it there? Cool. How many of you are thinking about starting one or are in the process of starting one? Keep your hands up because there's such a wide number of people. Okay, that's probably majority of people. Yes. From the people who want to start right now, I want to hear some of the business ideas you guys have. So I know you had your hand up. Do you feel comfortable sharing your idea, general idea? You don't need to get into details.
I'm not actually establishing it right now. I'm willing to do it, but I don't have any ideas so far.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Who else wants to share their idea for the business they're starting? I think you had your hand up too, right?
I want to create a website that helps after a breakup, like relationship-wise.
Oh, okay.
That's basically my idea.
Interesting. It's like reverse Tinder. Yeah. That's good. Who else had an idea here? I know you had one. One of you was helping the other one with the hand up? No? Sure. Anybody else wants to share? Yes.
Yeah, so right now I work at a startup and we just work with a lot of people and financial advisors. So there's a company called BetterHelp where it's an online platform where you could kind of meet with a therapist, do it all online, super low cost. So I was thinking it would be pretty cool that someone that's living paycheck to paycheck that can't really afford a financial advisor, or it doesn't make sense for the financial advisor to work with them, create some sort of platform that the advisor and the actual consumer can go online and chat.
Cool. Let's get one or two more ideas. Who else? Okay, who has a business idea that wants to start on? Because you had a lot more hands were up. Nobody else wants to share? Fine. A lot more people are eager to show that they're excited, but don't want to share. Let's get started then. So basically, this workshop is about once you have an idea or you're working on one, there's a lot of work that you have to do until you reach a stage where you can show it to a friend, to a customer, to an investor, to get them excited about your idea. And a lot of those steps, that's where most people fail at, because they spend so much time on crafting a logo, so much time on finding a designer, spending so much money hiring a developer, and all of this without really understanding what's the actual value that their product is going to bring to these people. So why bother with an MVP? Does anyone know what's an MVP? So yes.
Minimum viable
Product. Yes, exactly. So a minimum viable product. Basically what that means is if you have an idea, one of the first steps you got to do after you kind of nurture the idea in your head, you kind of understand what the actual thing is going to look like. You want to create an MVP. An MVP, minimum viable product, is the most basic version of your product that has the sufficient number of features, sufficient amount of design and aesthetics to be functional for your early users. So you don't want to, right off the bat start with the best well-designed version of your app, spend tons of money on designing it, finding the best font, finding the best logo. You just want to get something so you can start testing. Now, why is that important? Why should you even waste time with designing something that's not even that much complete? Why shouldn't you just go ahead and design the best app or website of your idea that you can from the get-go?
Because you don't know if your consumer will want it. You want to base if you're going to spend all the time and money, you don't want to waste time and waste money on something the consumer doesn't want. So you can lean out the process by getting the consumer to help you develop your product.
Exactly. Basically, you have so many assumptions about your product. You have an assumption that someone who's living paycheck to paycheck would be interested in doing that. You have an assumption about someone who's, right after the breakup, they want to use an app to do what you want them to do. That's the assumptions about the customer. You have assumptions about the technology. You have assumptions that, oh yeah, this app, this is how it's going to work out. Maybe the technology is a little bit different and you have to change that up. You have assumptions about how you're going to market it. You have assumptions about how the interface should look like. You have so many assumptions, and most of the time, you get most of them wrong. And that's just a fact, because the only way you can kind of understand what part of your idea is right, what part of it is wrong, is through testing. And you want your test to be as cheap as possible. For your test to be cheap as possible, it's better to get the minimum amount of product that you need and test with that. And once you solidify some of your assumptions, or you cross them out, then you can narrow down on the assumptions you want to stick with, on the features you want to stick with, on the design you want to stick with, and then move to a more evolved version of your minimum viable product. So we'll walk through a few versions of the minimum viable product, the steps of it, and if we have time at the end, I'll go through creating a minimum viable product for an app that looks like Uber, but for trucks. Okay, basically you don't know what you don't know. So this is a funny comic version of it, but what users want is this. So if you actually are lucky enough to talk to all the possible users of your product and ask them, okay, you have this problem, what do you actually want? They might give you a picture that looks like this. But even the users don't really have a good idea of what solves their problem. They focus on the features that make sense, but that's a good starting point. So your idea number one is, I can't make that one, but I will start with this. Then you go to a developer and it's like, okay, I get your idea, but technically I can't do that one. So he ends up creating something like this. Then you hire someone for marketing, or you create a marketing material and you promote your product as something like this. Then you get someone from business development to put the pricing for your product that looks like this, but the ideal product looked like this. So how can you avoid all these steps and get as close as you can to the ideal product? Because if you look at the first image that we had, that's what users wanted, that's what you thought would be good enough, but none of these pictures had anything to do with the ideal product. You always start with the wrong assumption, and the only way you can kind of get a clue about the ideal product is through a lot of testing. You test every assumption you have, you test every aspect of your product to see which one actually clicks in terms of pricing, in terms of design, in terms of features, in terms of functionality, in terms of marketing and pricing for a business model, all these things. Cool. So a good place that you can start with is people, which you will have assumptions about because you're like, people need this. Then technology, how are you going to build it, how the interface is going to look like, what's the user experience. That's a lot of assumptions too, which is fine. You have to start from somewhere. And then you have the actual final product, which brings all these things with the pricing, branding, user interface, growth, marketing, all tied into this one thing. But all of this is filled with assumptions. So it's a good idea to test a lot of these assumptions that you have through different means. To test all these things, you need a framework. So to go about creating this minimum viable product for all these different aspects, first you have to kind of solidify your idea, understand what your idea is to begin with. And a lot of times you kind of have that idea in your head. The moment you start explaining it to someone else, or you even want to verbalize it, you go on a tangent, you start thinking about new stuff, and it's very difficult to narrow it down to a simple sentence. And until you have that core value of your product down to a simple sentence, you probably don't even know what your idea is, which is fine. Then you got to plan how you're going to create that MVP and actually create it. What tools are you going to use that use the minimum amount of resources? Because this whole thing is about being efficient. Yes?
This is after you do your market research and stuff, right?
Yes, and market research is not just market research. You have to do market research, customer research, research for the tools you want to use, the research for competition, so all these things. It's something basic. Like all of this is about quick. Don't kill yourself over market research. Don't kill yourself over, competition research. Exactly, and we'll go through it, but just minimum amount of information that's sufficient. So every time you want to start on one of these tangents and go about, choosing a color palette, is that sufficient? Is that sufficient or ideal? Having beautiful colors, probably, it's ideal. If your product doesn't have the most pretty colors, it's fine, it's sufficient. So at that point, you just got to stick to what's sufficient. So we'll go through and it will become more clear. Cool. So when you're thinking about what your minimum viable product is, you probably have to do a lot of cutting, because the first idea that you have probably has a lot of features. For example, your app that helps with people who are, after breakup. You want them to have matching system. I don't even know what your app is, but I'm just assuming something that people can match with each other, message each other, have super likes, all these different features. But your first version doesn't need all these things. Your first value that the app has to provide is connecting people. So if your app can do that one thing really well, that's sufficient. So first focus on that one feature that provides the value that you think solves the problem, instead of thinking about all the extra things that makes it better. So start from that, keep it simple, and if you're designing an app or a website, mobile first. Now, why mobile first? When you're designing first, majority of traffic now is mobile. Majority of traffic online is mobile, which is crazy to think about, and the other part is when you're designing for mobile, your screen is a little bit smaller, so you have a little less rope to hang yourself with. So you don't have to worry about all this empty space that you have. It kind of forces you to focus on what's important. So, steps. Have an idea. Do a little bit of market research, which basically means what's out there, what people are looking for, how else are people solving their problem, what people are saying about the solutions that are out there. And try to craft an elevator pitch. An elevator pitch basically says, what's the pain that people are experiencing? What's the value that you're going to provide to solve that pain? And why is this a good way to make money or have some sustainable business out of it? Because at the end of the day, your business has to be sustainable, whether you want to make money out of it or not. If you want to run it for more than a year, someone has to pay the bills. So, and then mock up your idea. So let's go here. So let's say I don't want to use Internet Explorer, but that's the only option here. Let's see. I can't even use the browser. I don't know. Okay, now it does.
Security alert. Virus intrusions detected on your computer.
Okay.
Your personal data and system files may be at serious risk. All system resources
Okay,
are paused
let's
to
see.
prevent any damage. Please call customer service immediately to report these threats now.
Okay.
Important security
Oh my
alert.
God.
Virus intrusions detected on your computer.
Leave this page. There we go. It worked. We are out. That was crazy. Wow. Okay. Persistent hackers. Few tools that it's good to look at when you're trying to see what's out there, what people are searching for. I think Google Trends. Do you guys know Google Trends? Yeah? Google Trends, basically Google sharing with you their search data, which is amazing because you can see what people are searching for, when they search for it, and what else they search for when they search for that thing. For example, you have an app about breakups, right? So you're like, how to deal with breakup. Interesting. So first thing you notice, it's very seasonal. Apparently, the week of May 13 is not a good time for being in a relationship. You can't even change this. They have it since 2014. And you can even say, only search America. And what else they search for. You can look at the topics that are related to this: depression, pain, broken heart, anxiety, loneliness, emotion. Now, this might not give you, I don't know what some of these have to do. Oh, breakup of Soviet Union, probably, that's why. So you can get some ideas of what else people search for, how much demand there is for this. You might get an idea about, oh, there's this other app that I didn't even know that people use, and what's in there. So one of my friends designed a very good music player app for Android, and he has a ton of users. And the way he came up with designing that, before thinking, he knew he wanted to design a music player, but he just didn't know how he would make it better than the other ones. So what he did was he went to all the music player apps on the App Store, read all the comments, especially the ones that are negative, to see what people are complaining about. And one thing that stuck out, everybody was complaining about a bad user interface. Nobody cared about how many features it has, about equalizers or visualization of the sound or organizing your music. Number one thing was just, this sucks in terms of user interface. So what he did was he created this music player, the most simple music player, and packaged it and positioned it as the simple music player. And it's the whole thing of the whole idea of the app was focused on, this is like a very simple music player to use. And that was the way he figured out, okay, how am I gonna see what people like, what are the competition out there, what people don't like about the current competition, and if I have an app, how do I position it in terms of marketing? And that, all of that came from reading the reviews. So that's one thing that's actually pretty interesting to do. Even if you're selling like a physical product, if you're selling, you know, some form of electronics, or another one of my friends was selling a phone battery charger. And what she did was on Amazon, she would read all the phone battery charger reviews and see what people actually worry about. Is it how much capacity it has, or is it how much heavy it is, or is it because it's kind of looks bad or looks nice? Is it detachable? Is it not detachable? What are the people actually talking about? And that's another way to see what's lacking in the market. So let's go back to this. Cool. Now, a few other sources to do a little bit of research is directories. So whatever you're building, I'm sure there's a directory that lists all your competitions or similar apps. One of the pretty useful websites to look at is Alternative 2. Alternative 2. So you go here, you type any app, Tinder. If you gave your app name, I would have used that, so your loss. So here we go. So you put Tinder and you just want to see, okay, I know Tinder is one of my competitions or something that people like me, are, like, people who would use my thing are interested in. And then you're like, oh, there's also OkCupid, TMO Dating, Meet Me, all these different apps, which is great because a lot of these people who use these apps at some point will probably end up using yours because these are the people who are getting into relationships. And one thing you know, you have to have the relationship first to use your app because then they have to break up. So then you're like, okay, if I can figure out who are the actual people who use these apps, and if I can reach the people who use these apps, and if I can focus my marketing to use these apps, that would help me create a better product. If I base my user interface on these apps, that would help me to get users to use it because the users are already familiar with Tinder's user interface, with OkCupid's user interface. So if I can kind of get inspiration from all these apps, that would save you a lot of time and money. Cool. Another website is Dribbble. Dribbble, do you guys know this one? This is where the best designers in the world come and brag about their designs. And almost anything you search for, there's someone who designed something. It's like someone designed a breakup app logo that they never used. But you can see sometimes like you get better ideas of what else is out there, what other people are working on currently, because if they hire a designer, they can't wait till they add whatever they designed for this company to their portfolio. Then you can see, oh, someone is currently working on a breakup app. Maybe I should see what their interface looks like, which is interesting. You're about to break up with Katia. We just need a little bit more information before things untag me from all her photos. So you're like, this is actually a pretty cool feature. If you're breaking up with someone, this app will untag you from all their photos. Unlike all my likes with Cynthia, wow. Anything that you have co-liked, it will unlike. Change my status to single, send a message to Cynthia announcing the breakup, send message to my friends announcing the breakup. That's very aggressive, but you never know what you find. Cool. We talked about this. So this is a slide I use in a lot of presentations. Does anyone know what that is, the drawing there? Yeah. Website, but what website was this? This is like the MVP of a very big website. Like the first version, no. I mean, it's so bad. That's kind of the point, because the MVP usually doesn't have anything with the final product. No. No. Yes. There you go. How did you figure out? Did it say tweet or something?
No, it says status.
There you go.
If
Yeah.
it's not Facebook, then it's Twitter.
Exactly. So this is Twitter. This is the guy who created Twitter. He's like, okay, I'm going to do the version 1, which is just a drawing. That's the MVP, right? It's just a drawing. It helps you to kind of understand the idea for yourself, explain it to someone else, show it to people. You have to be able to draw it. If you can't draw your idea on a paper using a marker, then you probably don't know what your idea is. So this is the first version of MVP that you should definitely start with, because that helps you understand, okay, I want to help people with breakup, but how does that actually look like as an interface? What are the things people need to see? And then you're like, okay, actually, if I want to do this, I need this other feature. And once I do that, I need this other feature. Or these are the things that I need to do. And it makes you really think about the idea, narrow it down. And this is a good first step. And the best advice I can give you, find the thickest marker you can find to draw out your first MVP. Why the thickest marker? Because you don't bother with the details. I think this is even a little bit too detailed for your first version. You just want to draw a bunch of boxes. Here's a button, here's a profile picture, here's a search button, here's like a status update goes, all that stuff. Just draw it out. And draw out all the different screens that you think people will need. Because let's say you wanted, had an idea for Uber, right? So first you're like, okay, I want to connect people to hire someone to drive them somewhere. What's the actual interface you need? You need somewhere with a map. Cool. Then you need a box that says where you're going. Nice. You also need another box that says where you are. And then you need another piece that confirms the price and tells them the price. And then it has to have another loading screen where it's finding the driver. And then once it finds the driver, it has to have another screen where it shows the driver is coming to you. Once you get on the thing, it has to change to another screen that shows the car going to your destination. After you reach your destination, you need another screen that shows the price and asks you for a review. But all these screens wouldn't magically pop into your head unless you actually try to draw it out on paper, see how all of it sticks together. So, and doing it on paper is great because it's quick, fast, and you get what you need out of it, which is focusing on the core features. So, this is your audience. You really don't know who your audience is. They come in all ages, race, size, gender. And you need to really get what they need and match it with what you think they need. Because you might think this app is great because it solves this problem. But then once you actually talk to people or once your app actually launches, people are like, yeah, I get what you're trying to do here, but this is not my problem. So a lot of this MVP part, after you develop it, a lot of it is about communicating it to other people. Because you have the idea in your head, but you want to get a founder or co-founder, they have to understand your idea. They have to get excited about it. You have to be able to show them your idea as close as you can to reality, as close as you can to a real working app without spending that much time and money. If you want to get a founder, a funder, like if you want to get an angel investors, win a business plan competition, anything, you have to be able to communicate your idea. And the way you do that is through MVPs. You don't actually build the whole thing. So now you did it on paper. You want to go and create a digital version of it. There are a bunch of tools you can use. One of them that I always suggest to people, they have a free version, which is fantastic. It's called Balsamiq. So let's see. That's actually, let me see if they have a web version. Because I have it on my laptop, but we'll see. Balsamiq. Let's see. Seems to be working. Fantastic. Cool. So this is a wireframing app. So let's say I've already drawn out some screens that I think my app needs, right? They don't look anything fancy. And now I want to take it from my horrible design skills and handwriting, give it a beautiful look. So first, I know I need a phone screen. So let's see. It actually lets you search for these things too. So let's say mobile phone. There you go. Oh, iPhone. There you go. Let me delete that. So it gives you an actual iPhone because I want to create an app. And my app is like Uber, but for trucks, right? So on one of my drawings, I had a map. So let's say search for a map. There you go. Gives me a map. And then I'm going to just place it roughly. I'm just going to design one of the screens just to show you how easy it is without, real design skills or coding skills. And then I know I need a search bar where people can put their address in. And I type the search. There we go. And I can even change the text in the search bar. Destination. Cool. And then I need a button that says order. I need a pin where you can drop your your location on. There you go. Cool. Right? So this is one screen. And then let's say I want to create another screen since we have so much time. Whoops. Let's get another mobile phone. You can resize it very quickly. Whoops. And this one, I want to create the screen where the driver is coming to you. So for that, I need a circle where I put the face of the driver in. So that's where the face goes, maybe a little bit higher because we have to put their name somewhere. So I'll put a text box label. There you go, that sounds correct. And then let's add that map again. And we need a car icon for where the driver is. Let me see if I can push this to the back. Send back. There you go. Send to the back. Cool. Truck. There, that's an actual truck. It's right there. This is your driver. This is that person. And let's say I add a bunch of lines of where the driver is going to come from. It's going to come here and then come to you. Whoops. So let's say this is you go through and create all these different steps for your app, right? They don't look anything amazing, but now if you want to explain it to someone else, if you want to hire a designer to design it for you, if you want to get a co-founder who's, let's say, a technical co-founder who wants to actually develop this app for you, now they're so much easier to explain it to them. And you literally spent less than 10 minutes to create this whole thing from your head. This compared to explaining it to someone else verbally, and then they kind of understand what it is, and she goes about and creates this completely different app, but that was her impression from what you told her. But with this, you can kind of focus everyone's attention on the same idea, work on the same idea, show it to people and say, okay, you're a potential customer. If you had an app that you could just put your destination, show where you are, press order, and a driver would come to you, would you use that? How would you use it? And this helps you to kind of figure out what you need to get done before you launch your app too. Because that makes you think about, okay, I have a search box, but how do I validate all the addresses? So that's one thing you have to figure out. How am I gonna figure out the pin thing, the truck thing? I have to figure out what's the most efficient way for the driver to get here. So once you go through this exercise, you have so many extra benefits rather than just having a pretty mock-up, that I always suggest start from this, try to create the same app different ways, try to reimagine the way the interface would work different ways, because you learn different things every time. Cool. Any questions so far? Great. What was that? Now, let's say you had this. You went from this to that somewhat decent-looking mock-up. Now you can kind of hire a designer, which there are a lot of good websites that you can hire someone for less than $100 to design a very good-looking mock-up of your app. I don't think that's a great idea as the next step, but if you're entering a business plan competition, or if you want to get into an incubator like the Digital Media Zone, somewhere where you need a presentable looking version of your app. You can't go to DMZ or Digital Media Zone with something like this and say this is kind of what I want to build. You have to have something more professional looking. Then you can take the mockups we made in the last step, take it to a designer, give them a few $100, and they can use that to make it beautifully designed. If you want to do it yourself, there's another way to do it too. So let's say I'm doing that Uber thing. So you can always go to Google, say Uber PSD. Who knows what PSD stands for? Photoshop? Exactly. It's a Photoshop file format. Almost any app that you want, there is a Photoshop version of it. So someone already created all these different screens for an Uber app. So instead of me designing all these screens from scratch, I can just go get these, either go to Photoshop, do it myself. If I don't know how to use Photoshop, I can hire someone who will use these, and they are not going to design everything from scratch, so they're not going to charge you an arm and a leg, to modify these to match the design that you have for your app. I'm sure there's a PSD for Tinder too. So let's see. Here we go. Nice, right? It's an old version, but you can get this. You can get all the necessary interface that you need for your app and fill it up with your own data, change it, tweak it around, and then submit it to get into a business plan competition. In fact, let's say, let's say I had this app and I designed, let's see if I can find a decent screenshot. Okay, that's good. So let's say, pretend this is a screenshot of my app, right? And I want to create some fancy stuff to show it to a business plan competition or an incubator or an investor in a respectable way. There is this website called Place It, where you go there and you get this, and you say upload image, downloads, or where do they save these pictures? There we go. Drop. And boom. Now you have a photorealistic mock-up. You can even do it with videos, which is pretty crazy. So if you go here, you're like, you know what? I want to have this. I'll upload. I don't have a video, but some of them will let you. Okay, let's just do it. You can do it with a web page. So let's see. Let's do it with this. Oops. That's a video too. Great. So there we go. Now you can easily make a poster or a cover photo for a presentation slide. And it looks very professional, very real, and it's they charge you something. But if you again search for photo realistic mock-up PSD, I'm sure you'll find. I'm sorry if I'm using Bing, but yes. So you can get all of these photorealistic mock-up placeholders and use it from business cards, notebooks, any design that you have, you can put it on these things and it will look as if it's a real picture without hiring a photographer and a model and a device. And this will give you a head start and it's free. Cool. Now, let's say you did that. Now you want something even better than an app that looks nice on paper. The next step is to actually create an interactive mockup. What's the difference between this and what we created? This, first of all, looks way more professional, this level, but also it's interactive. So if you actually click on the buttons, something happens. Just like a very fancy slideshow, but it looks real. So we're going to go through, after I'm done, create one of these. Hopefully we'll work on Internet Explorer. Cool. Let's see. So the website, there are tons of tools for this. My favorite one that is a good balance between easy to use and good functionalities is Protoio. And you can try it for free. And I'll just make an account. Cool. Cool. Here we go. Nice. Let me skip all the intros. Great. So this is very similar to what we used in Balsamiq here in terms of all the elements you have, all you put in, but all the elements are designed the same way that an iPhone 7's interface, iOS 7, or any other app. They have Android, they have iPads, they have everything you can imagine. And you can even install add-ons to bring in more resources. So let's see. Cool. Let's search for. Let's do the same thing that we did in the other place and add the this screen doesn't show the search part, but so I have to look for it one by one, but let's see. Let's first add a tab. We call our app, Trucker. There you go, just like Uber. We'll add a button that says order. Put it down here, make it big. And then let's see. Cool. Whoops. There you go. Let's HTML code. So let's go to Google Maps. You can go to Google Maps and get an actual embed code. Say Toronto. Cool. So I'm just going to drop the code that Google gave me. Whoops. And once you actually load this mockup, there you go. Now you have an actual map here, which is pretty cool. So let's see how what we have so far looks. For some reason, this is not showing the rest of the screen. Let's see. Okay, let's try this. Let me give you a custom link so you can actually what should we call this? So MVP Workshop 2, probably because MVP Workshop 1 is taken. Cool. So if you guys go to bit.ly MVP Workshop 2, let's see if it actually works. You should see this thing, which is, as you're building your app, it's functional. So you see the map is real. I can make the button to do something. I can create another screen and say if someone clicked on order, show them this screen. So this is a very realistic mock-up of your app. You haven't done any coding or design or anything. So let's go flesh it out a little bit more. So let me actually see edit. Yeah, bit.ly/MVP Workshop number 2. So if you guys go to that, you can see how the actual app looks like. You can go it on your phone too. Cool. So let's continue adding more stuff to this app. This is ridiculous. Cool. So let's see. Let's add screen 2. So the first screen is where you order. The second screen is driver. So the second screen, what do we want it? We want it to have the map, so I can just copy whatever I did here, which is super convenient. So I just get this, go here, paste, and now here I want to have a circle that has the driver's picture. Shapes. Whoops. I probably want it to be, whoops, a circle. There we go. So that's the driver's picture goes, and we have the name of the driver. Oops. Cool. Obviously, if you spend more time, it's going to look significantly better. But let's say it's created the second screen. Now you can go here and say, whoops, send this to the back. Add an interaction here. So you can say, add an interaction, title the interaction, tap action, go to screen driver. So, whoops. Cool. So let's save this. Cool. So now let's see if it updated. Go to share. So this is our app. Whoops. Let's see. Oh, didn't add an interaction. Okay. Save. Hopefully this works. There you go. So you can spend some time, make it look very nice, and buttons all the right size and right font and the right color. And you can pull in different maps, different tools, different pictures from different places, and add interactions. So you can say, okay, this is the match button, this is the next button. So for example, for your app, you can say if someone clicks on the slides right or left, swipes right or left, then show this as the next screen. And then you can take this on your phone as if it's a real app and walk someone through your idea. And all it takes time to build it once you actually know what your app is going to look like, it's less than an hour. So if you can create a functioning prototype of your app less than an hour, without coding, without design, and the amount of the stuff you will learn from this, and the amount of money you're going to save, imagine if you spend so much money and time to actually build this. Just hire a developer, hire a designer, and then you found out, oh, actually, people don't like this app. If it was the other way, it would have been better, right? You can spend a couple of hours, create something like this, quickly test it, show it to people, see how they actually go through the app. Like if you give this app to someone and they can't even find their way through it, then you know you've made a bunch of wrong assumptions about what people actually, how people actually are going to use the app. Or if people are like, oh, if you had a search button, that would have been more useful because I want to search different cars people have. And I want to choose my driver instead of just randomly being assigned to one. So definitely try to use this tool because I've tried a bunch. This one I think is the best one in terms of a balance between how simple it is to use. And let's see the pricing. It was pretty cheap. Yeah, so $24 a month. And you have a free trial. You can sign up with a new account for free trial again. So you can practically use it for free. Same with Balsamiq, that's completely free unless you want to export your mockups, which I don't know. Like once you're really happy with them, you can do it. Otherwise, you can just take a screenshot and save it and use this app for free. Now, a little bit about branding, logo design, and all that, because most of the time when people have an idea for an app or a website, they get the app idea, but then they spend 90% of their time on figuring out the best font and the best colors and the best logo and the best name for their company, and most of this stuff doesn't really matter, right? I mean, if you think about the biggest apps, biggest companies, you don't see a pattern in the names, right? They might be a benefit to a very good name, but it's not the make or break. It's a 5% help or not help, and you can do without that. And you can always change your name later if you really become a significant app. So, few things. Let's design a logo, right? A first version of your logo. Every company changes their logo. Your thing is not even a company, it's an idea, so don't be so picky about your logo. So, Google is your best friend, but logo generator, and I'm using this instead of going to the website, because I know that the first, most of them are not that good. My favorite one, which I'm biased, but Shopify has a great logo maker. Let's see, I can't even, okay, this is it. I'm done with Bing. So let's open a bunch of these, because you can get a good idea of, Canva has a good one. Cool. So my name of the app is Trucker. And obviously I want a logo of a truck or a car. Let's keep it simple with a car unless they have a truck. And I like the color blue or maybe this. Cool. And make the icon big, put it in a circle, boom. That's half of an Uber logo, right? I mean, Uber logo is just a U here. That's it. And it's good enough. You can even have it here, have it there, have it up here, have it to the side. It's good enough logo. And it's a logo that you can start with. Just give your email, you get a logo. There are tons of tools like this. Some of them are more fancy. I don't like these ones because they give you a blank canvas and then you have enough room to run wild with your creativity, which is dangerous. Again, very confusing. This one might be good. Let's see how this one turns out. Trucker, and then choose a logo concept. Oh, this is even worse, but let's see. Oh, not that bad. There you go. A placeholder logo, that's all you need, right? And it's probably better than whatever you can design in any amount of time. So, boom. And you can save, like if you're a very good designer, still you shouldn't waste your time designing the first logo. Because this is just a logo to get the ball rolling. You don't need your final logo in the beginning. And you can spend so much time on colors and logos and all that. So, you have a logo. Next step that a lot of people spend time on is colors, right? And most people suck at colors, they just don't know it. Because there's a science to choosing colors, especially if you're designing for web or an app. Because each color should have a different meaning. And each color should highlight where people find secondary information, primary information, and all these things. And it's tough to learn this stuff. And I don't know it that well either. That's why I use different tools. Coolers.co. This is such a good tool. It just gives you colors that go really well together. So you just go there, press OK. Let's get rid of this. OK. Here we go. Just press the space bar. Every time you press the space bar, it gives you a bunch of different colors. And I'm going to press them a few times, and I'm on C-O-O-L-O, Coolers. C-O-O-L-O-R-S. Coolers.com. Let's see if I can write it here. Let's do, there you go. This and Protoio, place.it, Shopify. These are the 4 tools we used so far. So, and balsamic, so. So as long as you do a Google search, you'll find these. I don't know their exact domain name. But yeah, if you want to take a picture, it will last longer. There you go. Cool. Now, let's say I'm still pressing space and I don't like any, oh, I like this one. So I can lock in this color. I'm like, okay, I like this color. The next set of colors you're gonna give me, make sure they go really well with this one color I've locked in. So then it gives me those colors. Now, let's see, something that looks like Uber. Yeah, I like this white. I want something blue. Maybe this. And then some bright color. Oh, this is a nice color. There you go. Now that's like a semi-professional looking color. It looks horrible up there. I just realized that, but it looks beautiful here. And they all go well together, and it gives you the color codes. Like these weird numbers that you see at the bottom, these are the colors any designer or developer would use to actually make your app. So if you want to talk to a designer, you already have your colors down. And they all go well together. And they all perfect for what you want to do because you kind of know what kind of colors you want to use. You know you want a blue, but what kind of blue? There are a million different types of blue. So this helps you not only find that blue, but also find other colors that go well with it together. So you can start from one color that you like and kind of lock in the other colors. And by the end, you'll have all the colors you want. Cool. Yes?
So once you choose the color that you like, then it generates 5 other colors that go well with that one.
Yeah.
So you don't have to think like you said.
Exactly. You don't even need to start from a color. I just can go there and say, okay, I don't know what color I want to start with, right? So I'm like, okay, let's see what it gives me. So the first batch that it gives you is completely random. You press the space bar, it changes all of them. You continue press the space bar, and then you're like, oh, I really like this gray. So you lock the gray, and then now these colors are going to go well with that gray. And then you press these, like I like this one, and this one, and then these two are going to change. The other ones are there. You see they all go really well together. This and this. Looks great. Yeah. Even up there it looks decent. Yeah? Fantastic. Any other questions? Great. Let's see what other tools I had here. So now let's say you want to find some ideas about your target market, right? You want to see what people are thinking about, what your competitions are doing, all these different stuff. So pretty much anything you want to find, you can find it online. It's just a matter of how you go about finding it. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about some general ways I try to find these type of stuff. Now, based on what your idea is, this stuff can be different. One of my favorite places to find people is Reddit. You guys use Reddit? Obviously, right? Should. So if you go to reddit.com/reddits, that's where you search subreddits. How many of you don't know what Reddit? How many of you know what Reddit is? Good. Reddit is basically a website where you find something interesting, a link, you submit it, other people vote on it, and the most voted stuff get to the top, and people can discuss it. That's like the simplest way to explain it. And then that evolved into links about certain topics. So there's a subreddit for videos, so people who like YouTube videos. So you can go to reddit.com/r/videos. And it will show you very interesting videos. Like these are the videos that have gotten a bunch of votes.
Max has been a very bad boy, unfortunately. I'm going to have to give him a little bit of punishment. Max, what sort of punishment do you think you should get? A punch in the face? Okay, let's punch you in the face. You ready? Do you think you've been punished enough? No, you need a bit more. I'll tell the camera you need a little bit more. Extremely weeny bit more. I'm aiming to show this in court, you see. Ready? So I'll make it a big one. Ready? I'll make sure I've got a ring on as well. Here we go. A few more. 5 more. Okay, ready? How about quick 5?
So obviously it's not actually beating the kid, so I've been wondering. Or this video, very useful stuff. So have you ever wondered how to pronounce this?
Sometimes I wake up in the morning and I look at myself in the mirror and I go,
There you go. They have more words. So basically, it's a subreddit that helps you find related interests. Okay, the browser's not working. Come on. Okay. Let's start again. Cool. So that part was videos. So everything is videos. But there are subreddits for other stuff, like Toronto. So you go to Toronto, it's people discussing stuff about Toronto. Missing person, Queen and Ossington, inside Airbnb, Toronto stats, or all these different things. So if you go to reddit.com/r, you can search for actually these interests, right? So you can search for breakup and see the subreddits that are related to breakup. So there's a subreddit of people, 2,000 people, not huge. Actually, there's another one called Breakups, 11,000 people, about ongoing support for breakup. So you want to see what people are actually talking about. What are their pain points? What do they need? What are the suggestions people have about how to cope with breakup, right? You can even sort them by the most things. Things I wish I knew when I was younger about breakups, right? So all these things. And even if if you're making an app, you can actually make a post there and kind of explain your app with the screenshots and all that and say, what do you guys think? This is the place that you probably can get your first users anyways, right? You can say, here's my app, try to use it, see if it helps you. Give me your feedback. And since you're going there with this big announcement and being transparent with it, you're gonna get some good feedback. That's one way. But let's see, breakup app. So let's see, there's a breakup app, little book. Hopefully it's nothing bad, okay. Yeah, so there's an app. So let's say you want to see what else these people have hosted on their website. I don't know if there's anything interesting, but we'll see. So this is interesting. File. Whoops. So let's say Google. Cool. Let's say you want to find legitimate research that has been done about relationship-related apps, right? How do you find research and documents that are not marketing documents, that are not, blog posts that someone wrote about breakup, some actual research about relationship app market in Google? There are a bunch of ways. You can obviously look for legitimate publications that make this stuff and then go search through them, or you can kind of narrow your search results. If you can figure out a way to narrow what Google gives you, you can search for anything and find whatever you want, exactly what you want in a very short amount of time. So one thing I know about good research is if it's good and if it's legitimate, there's a PDF version of it, right? If someone, like most of the good industry reports, serious documents, they have a PDF format somewhere. So if you go to Google, type file, type, one word, semicolon PDF, relationship apps, and then I'll put Tinder just in case. Online technology effects, there we go. So these are all legitimate. Let me close some of these before the browser crashes. Cool. Tinder, true love or nightmare, but this is like a scholarly document that probably have some research about data, stats, target audience, the market. So let's see, swiping machine, chatting in, online relationships, Pew Research, right? That's a great one to look at. Summary of findings, opinions of online dating. And let's see if they have anything about breakup. There you go. 1 in 6 Americans with recent dating experience have experienced breakup. That's a great thing to put in your business plan competition document or something like that to validate your assumption that there's a market for breakup apps. And all I did was, and this is like a legitimate source because it's Pew Research, probably the most legitimate source you can find, and took a few seconds to find it. All you have to do, file PDF, and then this. So I'll just paste this in the same, let's duplicate this down. So if you search for file PDF and then that thing, whatever you're searching for, helps you narrow what you're looking for. You can even say search from a specific website. Let's see, what would be a good website to look at? I'll use Shopify because I know what we have there. So file type PDF. So I want all the PDFs. Let's say I'm competing with Shopify. And I want to find all the PDF documents that is hosted on Shopify, right? Or any other website. It's just a Google search. So you say file PDF site, semicolon shopify.com. Whoops. So basically you're telling Google find all the documents that are on shopify.com. And it found 193,000. You can narrow it down with this. So if you have a competition or if you know some websites that might have some document that you're interested in and you only want to find it, sometimes this is even easier than using a website's search function, right? Like a lot of websites are not designed well. So even if you actually use their search function to look for something, you can't find it. But if you go to Google and search for this, it probably gives you better results. So this one, I'll put this up there too. Here we go. So file type, site, that's it. Cool. So another mind-blowing thing that I recently saw is shopping insights by Google. So there we go. So okay, let me see if I can go. So have you guys seen this? Do you guys know who this is? This is Trump's spokesperson. And in one of the interviews, she kind of promoted Ivanka Trump's brand. It's like, you know what? It's a good brand, that beautiful stuff. I might go and buy it.
Today, this is a very successful businesswoman twice. Obviously, she's stepped away from it now, but in the past, she's helped to run her family's real estate empire. And on the side, she developed another fully, unbelievably entrepreneurial, wildly successful business that bears her name. And I think she's gone from 800 stores to 1,000 stores or 1,000 places where you can buy. You can certainly buy her goods online. And she's just at a very good place. She's an incredibly confident, creative, talented woman who also supports her father's presidency and realizes that yet they're using the most popular, go get someone in the workplace to get to him. So I think people can see through that. Go buy Ivanka's stuff is what I would tell you. I hate shopping. I'm going to go get some on myself today.
There is that.
So such a simple interview, but she said that, and then there was a big controversy about, oh, since you're like an employee of the government, you can't promote private brands. Cool. So this happened like a month ago or something, not even. So you want to see how that actually impacted search for Ivanka Trump stuff, right? So we go here and we say Ivanka Trump shoes, for example. And we see if that interview, which happened a month ago, had any impact. So you can see not that many people were searching for it, but now a lot more people are searching for it right after that interview. You can even say pretty much which counties in the state are super interested in this topic. So if you're actually trying to sell a physical good, a physical product, this is a really interesting tool you can use. You can get lost in it. There's just so many interesting things. You can see it by time. You can see the volume. You can see interest in the different cities, how widespread in these things are. And this can help you in multiple ways. So if you're doing Facebook ads, for example, for your product, if you're selling a product and you want to do online advertising, at least you can narrow down which cities are super interested in your product, and you can target those cities or areas. And there's a lot of other things you can get out of this, like how seasonal is the demand. So let's see. Halloween decorations, right? Gotta wait for it. Right? You can kind of see when people start thinking about Halloween decorations. And when it peaks, when it kind of dies down, which is, I don't know who's looking for Halloween decorations after Halloween, but that is a very interesting thing. Still in January, people are looking for it. Cool. So we go to something else. So another interesting thing, I don't know how you're going to end up using this, but it's another tool to see how seasonal the searches are or an interest is, or if the interest for something is going up or down. So there we go. Yeah, this is obviously Christmas song, right? So you can go to more, say statistics, and you can see the interest. Like every year around Christmas, a little bit earlier, people start watching it, and then nobody cares about it. Obviously, this is an extreme example, but you can do this for a lot of other videos. So if you find a video that you're like, okay, if someone's watching this, that type of thing is related to what I'm doing, that's another source for information. There is keyword tool. So this is not the one I wanted to pull up, but sure. This is good too. So this one, if you pay, it will tell you how much search volume there is for it, but there's a better tool than this. It gives you different things that people search for, right? So let's see, actually, this might be interesting. Breakup app. Breakup app. Binder, breakup, appetite loss, app breakup text. Wow, so yeah, so how do you generate a text to break up with people? That's apparently, but gives you everything that's kind of auto-completes your search. You know, when you search for something, it has extra stuff. There's another one that got bought, but we'll see if it's still working. Uber Suggest, this is a much better looking tool. No, it got bought and it's gone. Maybe it's here. Yeah. So how to break up. Let's see. How to break up with BF, with someone you love, with a girl, with a guy, someone you live with. That's marriage. How to break up a dog fight. In the middle of a dog fight, someone's searching for that. Yeah, but you get a lot of new ideas. If you know the core search term people are searching for, then you can kind of see what else kind of auto-completes your search. But what I wanted to, keywords everywhere. So let me see if we have Chrome on this, because that would be, oh my God. I've been suffering with this, and we have Chrome. So there's the Chrome extension called Keywords Everywhere. You install it, and it actually tells you the exact, not exact, but a very close estimate of the number of searches a month that happens for that specific thing. So, oh, okay, yeah, I have to sign up for this thing. Let's see. This is one of the best tools I've seen in terms of like marketing tools, because it's very difficult to get accurate search data. And search data is pretty much how you gauge how much interest there is for something. So if you want to write a blog post, if you want to write, have a website that ranks for something. This is very cool. Okay. Huh. Don't know my own password. Huh. Oh. Missed an I. Keywords everywhere. There we go. So you just got to go through the installation of this. And then you go here, you're like, boom. And you want to see how much searches are for this thing in Canada, right? So let's say, give me a keyword, something you want to know how many people search for it. Sorry?
Beer.
Beer. Good idea. Beer, Toronto. So 170 searches a month for Beer Toronto in Canada. Bar Toronto, 2,900. But it's interesting just to see how people search for it too, because a lot of times how you think people search for stuff is not actually how majority of people search for stuff. That will help you to focus your description of the app, focus the way you pitch your product, and all these different things based on actual data of how people try to solve their problem. Because when people go to Google, they usually have a problem they want to solve. How they phrase that problem usually focuses on their pain points. And if you can position your app or your website or your tool in contrast to those pain points, you have a much easier time selling the app or getting users. Another great tool that I forgot to tell you guys is Canva. Let's see. Okay, I think I already have an account. No. Forgot. You guys know Canva? If you don't like using Photoshop, you still want to make nice things, this is what you want to use. Okay. Cool. So this helps you create a lot of graphics that you need, whether you for your Twitter page, Facebook page, for your presentation slides, for your own website, without knowing that much design. Pretty much no design. So first, it gives you a bunch of options to choose from. You want to design a business card, a flyer, a collage, an invitation, a book cover, poster, banner, whatever. So let's say I want to design a social media graphic. And then it says, what kind of social media graphic? I like this word. It's like one of these motivational ones. I don't want you to show me how it's done. Doesn't give you a choice. Okay. So it's very easy. All you have to do is to search for what you want. Drag and drop, move it around, and type what you want, and it gives you a beautiful image. It has all the fonts that go well together, typefaces that go well together, all the beautiful pictures that you can use for free. And for the most part, this tool is free. And once you design it, it's probably better than any designer you can hire. So let's do one. Let's do elements, free photos, trucks. Let's do it. So we don't have a nice truck photo, that's too specific. But let's do beer. Hopefully that, whoops. Nice. Beer and soda. Cool. Let me delete this. Let's see, and put a city background. This is like a Facebook cover, right? So, and then you get rid of that, or maybe, yeah. Whoops. Cool. And you can even add a little bit of elements. Let's see, shapes. Arrange, back. There you go. And you can download it. So obviously you can go as crazy as you want with this, but if you don't want to go through designing stuff, this is a great alternative. Cool. I think we have the pizza in 2 minutes, so I'll keep some of the stuff for after that. But in the meantime, so after the pizza, we're going to talk about setting up a page where you can, like a website without actually coding. How do you set up different websites? If you want to collect emails, if you want to start a blog, if you want to start selling stuff online without design or coding. And if you want to have an app, it's very important for you to be able to collect emails. Because if you can, before you even build an app, you can get emails of a bunch of people who might be interested in it. Once you launch, you have some momentum. You have a bunch of people who have been waiting for your app to launch. If you want to sell something online, it's very important to start on a solid framework or website that doesn't make you spend so much time on the technicalities on the website rather than marketing your product and selling that. If you want to start a blog, you want to focus on writing, not fixing your blog platform. Cool. So let's take a few-minute break, enjoy the pizza, and then we'll come back. Oh, you need 5 minutes to sit down, and I'll show you guys another video. Let's see what else is. So another one of my favorite subreddits, it's called Cringe. It's the stuff that makes you cringe. Here we go. It's like a bad interview with a politician. I don't know what this is, so there's no personal endorsement. Oh, we can't hear it. Let's see. Let's go back to videos. This one never fails. This is actually good. That's a drug dealer's plane, and these are the cops. Yeah. You didn't plan on watching these stuff when you came to this workshop. There you go. That is mean, but it's funny. So an Irishman's reaction to winning a horse race. I don't know what's funny about this one. Da, da, da. I think we're good now for the pizza. So the things that I left out before we went on the break, and then continue on a few more things about setting up a website and all that, and based on how much time we have. But, so, one thing about Reddit that I forgot to say and kind of expand on, if you go on Reddit, you can go on reddit.com/subreddits and search for any topic that you want. For example, you are into e-commerce. And it shows you every community that has something to do with that, or videography. So it has a videography community of 250,000 people, or crappy videography, which is pretty interesting. It's just people posting links of bad videography, which I think is hilarious. The first step to becoming a bad videographer. iPhone videography. There's a whole community of people who do videography using an iPhone. And then if you go to them, you can see what people are discussing. Big list of video production, filmmaking resources. Someone already made a list of all the resources you need if you are into videography. You always find interesting stuff in these things. So it's definitely worth the time exploring a few subreddits that are kind of related to what you're interested in. And some of them you can do a little bit more analysis. So I don't know if you can see what I typed up there, but let's see. So let me get rid of this stuff, because this is, is it? Yeah, you can read that. So that's the address of the subreddit, right? It's reddit.com/r-videography. That's the subreddit. And then if you add this little extra piece about traffic, it shows you how much traffic there is there, which is another indicator of interest. If it's seasonal, if it's different day of the week, all these things you get information about. Which months there's a lot of interest in videography. January, usually there's a lot more interest in videography. Probably it has something to do with people setting up New Year resolutions, or if they always had a hobby or passion for videography, or they just got a gift, a camera as a gift, they want to learn about videography. This is all good information that you can kind of gain engaged insights about. So another tool. So that's Reddit. Now let's say you set up your app or website, but then you want to see how people actually engage with it. So let's see. Let me just quickly add a tool to this test website, and then we're going to go, whoops. Integrations. Cool. Head. Whoops. So just give me a second. Promise you, this is probably going to be the coolest thing I've talked about. Boom. So you guys can, so this is like a website. This is like a test website I have. It looks like a website that sells necklaces, rings, all that stuff, bracelets. And I have set this up. This was my, after doing all the mock-ups and the MVP and all that, I've set up a website. And it's pretty cool, it has prices, but I want to see how people actually browse this website, right? So there are a bunch of tools that you can use to see where people are coming from to my website, which pages they go through, do they come back after a week and check a bunch of more pages. One of my favorite ones is called Woopra. A lot of people use Google Analytics, I think, for a small website that you just don't have a lot of traffic. Google Analytics might be overkill, especially if you're not used to the interface. So if you guys could go to your Boho, B-O-H-O. So I typed the URL here. If you have a phone or a laptop, take it out, go to yourboho.com. Let's see. Whoops, there we go. So go to that, and then I'll show you how this works. Hopefully it will work. Let's go back. Homepage. Okay. So I'm just setting up the website to capture all these things. Done. Cool. Cool. If you could refresh the page and do it again, that would be great. So I'll just do this myself. Let's see. Usually it works. Sometimes you have to give it some time. Whoops. So basically what these two tools I'm using are doing, they track every visitor to the website. They show you what device they're using, what screen size they have, what version of the operating system they're running, which pages they visit, if they come back, if they take certain actions on your website, and then when they leave. And one of them, if this one works, this one does that. This other one actually records the screen of people. So you can actually see where they move their mouse to. So let me see if I have one that might have some recordings. No recordings yet. Oh, nice. So these are you. So you see all these green ones. So for example, this one, someone who came to the page views, so went to this page. Did anyone go to this page? Yeah? You. Okay, so while I have you there, what's your name? Let's do this. So I'm going to call this Navin. There we go. So now it's a little bit clunky on this. I don't know why. But now if you go tomorrow to this website, I can see you and what you did on the website if you continue browsing through your phone. So this is really good if you're doing direct sales. If you have, like, if you're in sales and you're on the phone with someone, you tell them, okay, go to our website, check the products. And as they're doing that, you tag them as that person. And then it shows, whoops, where they're going. I don't know why your thing shows up at states, your country. That's maybe that's someone else. Yeah, there are people going through all these pages. So for example, you can see these are the pages. Someone came to the home page, then went to the yoga category, clothing category, accessories category, and then they left. They had a Windows 10 laptop or a computer with a Chrome browser from Toronto. And they spent this much time on this day. And this is really interesting to see how people jump from different pages, which pages they check. So for example, if you have an e-commerce website and you see a lot of people who come to your website, they're checking your About page or FAQ page. All these things shows they're looking for information that you didn't give them in the first place. If someone's checking your About page, they're probably not sure if you're legit, right? The first thing you go to a website, you want to buy something from them, you're not sure if it's one of those scam websites or like what kind of guarantees they have. You go to their FAQs, you go to their about, and if you have a search button, and if they search for something, you can even track that and see, oh, a lot of people are searching for shipping. So they probably want to see how long it takes for them to get their item, or if they're looking for returns. You see a lot of people are searching for return policy. So you take that step of people, a lot of these people leave after they don't know how long it takes for shipping. You just add that information to your homepage or the product page, so that way you don't lose these people. They don't go and wonder, okay, I don't know how long this is going to take. So let's see if this ended up recording anything. No. Ridiculous. But it will. So let's see. Hotjar. I might have another account. So let's see. These are the best tools because once you make your app or website, you actually want to see, do people use it the same way you intended or planned for them to use it, or is it different? Nope. Let's see. Okay, this is not working today, so we'll get back to that. But this is called Woopra, and the other one is Hotjar. Both of them are free. So if you have a website already, if you have a blog, if you have anything, I suggest you add both of these to your website and see what you can get out of it. So for example, if you have a blog, you want to see, like, yeah, I get 10 people to my blog, but do they actually take the time to read your blog? Or do they get bored middle of your blog and leave? And if that's true, how far do people scroll down, right? Sometimes you write a blog and it's 5,000 words. Nobody reads that 5,000 words. Most people leave after they scroll down to the, 3,000 word limit. Then that might tell you first, maybe I should write shorter blog posts, or maybe I should make them more engaging around the 3,000 word mark so they kind of don't get bored and leave. So a lot of insights come out of that, and it really depends what your website is about. So woopra.com. Both of these have a paid version and a free version, and the free version is more than enough for all of you. There you go. So not this one. That's a test website. Cool. Woopra, Hotjar. Now, if you want to, let's see. There's a website called Product Hunt. Do you guys know this one, Product Hunt? Oh, this is my favorite website. So pretty much every time someone makes an app or a tool, they put it here, and other people vote on it. So it's a really cool place to find interesting tools, interesting apps for whatever you were trying to do. But also, once you make your app or tool or website, to put it there. Because this is a great place to get early adopters. People don't have that much high expectation of the actual product, and they're eager to try new things. So this is perfect for your new app or new website to get new users, but also see what else is going on. So videography. So you search for videography, right? Let's say you're into videography, and you see what other products are there that are into videography. Maybe you're writing a blog post and you want to find out what latest products are getting launched with this stuff. So there is, what is this? Get anything filmed with a drone. That's pretty interesting. So you pay them, you give them a location, they go and film it with a drone, and they send it to you. Pretty cool. Drones.io. Vid.me, a marketplace for hire videographers in minutes anywhere, right? Maybe you want to hire something like, you want to create a similar website. Then you're like, okay, they're doing something right because all these great companies are working with them. So pretty much videographers on demand. Then you can do a little bit of research, find what they have, maybe do that trick we did, which is see if they have any PDF documents, which usually means useful, but I doubt they have, but worth a try? No. but you can see all their pages. So one interesting thing is a lot of websites have password protected content, but if you do this, you can actually access that content, which is really strange why they don't keep this into account, because Google comes and crawls the website, adds it to its search thing, but if you go through their own website, they have a password protected, or you have to log in to view that content, but it's accessible through search. Cool. So Product Hunt, great place to find new products, similar products, submit your product to get new users, and all that. So let's say we want to create a basic landing page, right? Landing page is a website, a one-pager website that you can collect emails for people. If you have an app and you haven't launched yet, you can create a landing page that says what your app is and say if you're interested and you want to join the waiting list, put your email here and and when we launch, you'll be the first to know. If you have a Kickstarter and you haven't launched yet, you can put a video of your product promo, put it in a box that people can give your email and say when our Kickstarter launches, you'll get an email. If you have a service company that you want people to hire you, that's a quick way to set up a page that people can get in touch with you. So I don't know what tool for landing page I'm going to use, but I go to Product Hunt, I search for landing page, and since it's already rated by people's votes, usually you get great stuff with your first hit. Landing page analyzer, wrong. Landing page inspiration gallery, that's a great place to find some ideas for inspiration. So if you're creating a website for yourself, landing page inspiration gallery, because these are the websites that people have said this is a good design, have spent a lot of time organizing it, so you can get a lot of good ideas of how to organize the information that you want in the format. So whether you want to sell a product, sell a service, talk about your app features, I'm sure you can find a similar landing page. So for example, this is an app one. Whoops, this. And you can kind of get ideas, okay, what are the elements that go in a landing page for an app? You show the different features along with the relevant screen. You have an FAQ, a contact if they want, but most importantly, you have this install app kind of button that goes to the App Store, for example. Cool. We haven't still found our landing page, so let's see here. Landing page generator, there you go. Lead pages. Lead pages is actually very good, but it's paid. But this is one of the best landing page makers to create a landing page and collect emails. So let's see if they have a trial. No. Let's see, landing lead. I've used this one last time, and this is great. If they haven't gone out of business, because they let you create free landing pages, and they forget to charge you, which is really strange. But they're still in business, so I'm going to sign up for an account. Again, with no coding, you can create a landing page. Password is too weak. There you go.
Hello, my name is Faisal.
Okay, shut up. Move on. All fields are required. Okay. That's what happens when you ask for all fields are required. Like, you can't force me to give you my phone number. Did I miss a number? Sure. Valid phone number. Maybe you can. There you go. Cool. I'll add my teammate later. Integrations, we don't need to worry about that right now. Create a landing page. Now, what they do really good, they have different categories of landing pages. So you don't need to create everything from scratch. They have templates. So you can have lead generation, which basically means you get someone's email. Newsletter sign up, again, you get email, but for a newsletter. If you have an ebook that you want people to download, that's another landing page. Webinar, if you're running some webinar that people want to sign up. If you have an event, which is really useful. If you have an event and you want, like the most important thing about event is most people don't sign up for it, 3 months in advance or a month in advance or even a week in advance. Most people buy their ticket or sign up on the day of or in the same week, right? When did you guys decide to come to this event? Probably not 3 months ago, right? Because this event was planned like last week. So click through, coupon download, all this stuff. So let's say we have lead generation, whatever. And it has all these samples, right? So it has these beautifully designed samples that are designed with marketing in mind. Because you can design a landing page a million ways. That doesn't mean it's a good design for it to actually work, for people to get what you're trying to do, to push people to sign up. But these are pretty well-designed pages. So let's say I want to use this because this looks great. So now it's setting it up. And done. Very cool. So now we actually have a page that we can modify everything. Trucker, I probably didn't use the right picture, but whatever. App. Never worry about finding the right truck. Cool, and that's the form. Sign up. Or I can even say download. Now. Publish. So obviously you can change everything. You can change the pictures, you can add your own text, and once it's done, it gives you a quick URL, and you can customize all this information. You don't need any design skills, you don't need any coding, right? All you have to do is to choose what style you like, replace the content. You can create the beautiful pictures that we talked about from placeit.io to generate those photorealistic pictures of your app or website, replace it there. You can use free stock photos. So that's Canva, we talked about that tool, right? Canva, which was the one that we made, this one, right? So you can create all the graphics that you want here. It's pretty much Photoshop in a browser. They can design these things. The logo generator, you design your logo. You can download that, add it to your landing page. Let's see, where is our landing page? Here. So yeah, so you get your logo, you add it up there, write your copy that you learned based on all the research you did. The form, it's already generated. You put a call to action, you put a beautiful picture up there, you write more about your features that you found out that people care about, and then you can talk about more features and all that stuff. Now, they have a ton of different landing page templates. So let's see what else they have. Let's say I selected coming soon, mobile app, right? That's actually the one I should have started with. Here we go. Mobile app. And I'm gonna go to, where was that? Let's say I'm gonna get this blue too. I'm gonna use this blue somewhere. So I'm just replacing the text to make it sound like it's a trucking app. And then let's add an image. Welcome, I don't know what this is. They upload images. Let's find that ugly screenshot of Uber we found and pretend this is like a screenshot of our app. Save and close. Replaces your picture for that. There you go. The features of it. What would be a good feature list for a trucker app? Safe, fast, cheap, and on demand. right? And for example, on demand, we put peace sign, as if that makes any sense. For cheap, let's use a money icon, right? For fast, I guess, let's see what they have. Whatever, safe, a lockbox, I guess. Whoops. Lock, boom. And then we add some video later there. So let's publish this and see how it looks. Right? So yeah, that's our screenshot. It has all the features listed. You can add another screenshot here, put your logo up there, have the buttons linked to your app download, or have a box that collects the email based on which stage you're in, and add all these extra information and graphics and all that, and it looks beautiful. Like, this is a very good looking landing page. No coding, no graphic design, takes minutes, not even hours, minutes to set up. And it's free for the most part. So that's pretty much all I had to talk about, but I'm going to stick around. If you guys have any questions, you can ask now, or then if you don't want to ask in front of everybody else, you can walk up. I'm more than happy to help you with your questions. I hope you found it useful. Thank you.